Hi everyone, welcome to Best Recipes with Sharon. Today's recipe is for a really nice almond cookie. It has a little bit of a crunch to it. It's because it has ground almonds in it. So let's get right to making these. Preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit and get out all the ingredients and pre-pour some. And start by adding a cup of butter to the large mixing bowl. Now add 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. That's the same thing as confectioner's sugar or icing sugar. Then turn your mixer on and beat that until it's well combined. Now then add 2 large eggs. Next add 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And once again mix that until it's combined. Now add half a cup of ground almonds. Next, add 2 cups of all-purpose flour and continue mixing that in. Add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And finally, 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. And continue mixing this until it forms a soft dough and all the ingredients are well combined. Now if you have a cookie press, this is what you can do with it. I'll show you some of the designs that I use using the cookie press, but I will also show you what to do if you don't have a cookie press. And what I used to do is make almond horns and dip them in chocolate, so I'll show you how to do that. Now these ones that I'm doing right here, I will just bake those and dip the bottoms in chocolate. Now these would be something like those cookies you get at Christmas time that come in the tin. And you can make them any design you want. Use your imagination and they can look pretty fancy. And I trim them with a knife a little bit to try and make them equal. And these ones that look like little flowers, I'll probably just leave them like they are and not bother to put any chocolate on those ones. And I place them about 1 inch apart on a prepared cookie sheet with parchment paper on it. Now I set my timer for about 7 minutes, but it can take between 8 and 10 minutes to thoroughly cook them. So just keep an eye on them. The bottoms will get a little brown, the top won't show it so much, so just keep an eye on how they're doing. Now if you don't have a cookie press, go ahead and you can make up your own little almond horns like this. So you would just pinch off a little piece of dough and you would shape it and flatten it out a little bit and bake it like that. So when they come out of the oven, they'll look lightly golden underneath like this, and the time it takes to cook them will depend on the size of the cookie. So now it'll be on to decorating them with a little bit of chocolate. You can use milk chocolate or you can use semi-sweet, it's up to you. Put it in the microwave for about 20 seconds at a time and just melt them until they're just starting to melt nicely, and stir the rest of the way with a spoon until they're fully melted. Now for the almond horns, take and only dip half of the cookie in the chocolate like this and place them on parchment paper on a cookie sheet to set. And these look really fancy on a nice cookie platter. And you need to place them in a cool place to set, not in the fridge necessarily, because sometimes you'll get the fat bloom or the sugar bloom. And so just in a cool place, and they'll set nicely. It'll take a little while to do, probably a couple of hours to set at least. And then taking these ribbed cookies that we put through the cookie press and just coating the bottom of the cookie. And there's a little process to this too. You need to kind of wiggle it around in the chocolate to make sure it's coated well. And then scraping it on the edge of your dish to make sure you don't have too much excess chocolate. And once you have the bottoms of them all coated, then you'll need to take your finger and press down gently on each one, wiggle it a little bit so that the chocolate is smoothly distributed underneath, and you don't end up with air bubbles or missed pieces that aren't coated. And if there's extra chocolate that drizzles out from the sides like this, wait till it sets and then you can trim it with a knife. Now then you can take some of the chocolate and put it into a Ziploc baggie and just cut a little hole in the one corner and drizzle it back and forth on top of some of the cookies that aren't quite as prominent or well pressed. And this just fancies them up a little bit and they look like they were meant to be. Because with the cookie press, there's always those cookies that don't quite bake up and hold their shape quite as well as you'd like to see it. So this just helps to fancy them up a little bit, those ones that didn't turn out quite the same. But for those cookies that came through the press nicely, leave them as is, they don't even need any chocolate. Same cookie recipe, several different ways of doing it. I hope you enjoy this, and thanks for watching Best Recipes with Sharon.